Hey guys, Pastor Tanner here, coming at you with another Logos video. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to use Logos Bible software to write a seminary quality research paper in an efficient manner. That's the whole goal in this video. I love research. And in fact, when I first got saved, I was attending a young adults Bible study at my church, and we did a spiritual gifts test. And we went around and we were all asking our spiritual gifts and having a conversation about it. When it got to me, I said I had the gift of leadership because it looked like I was poised to be the next leader of that group. But my pastor interrupted me and he said, "No, Tanner, you have the gift of research." Gift of research? I'd never heard of such a thing, but he was right. I love to research, and in fact, my gift of leadership only had to do with the fact that I love to share my research with others. And so I want to show you guys how I utilize Logos Bible software to write good seminary papers in as efficient a time as possible. You see, Logos Bible software is an unparalleled tool when it comes to doing this kind of work. And I want to show you how you can use it in a very simple and efficient manner to get the job done effectively. What I am demonstrating in this video here today is my personalized approach that I use to write every single one of my seminary papers getting my MDiv without ever once going to a physical library. Now, before we jump into the details, I just want to hit a couple of preliminary ideas. First of all, this is going to be much easier if you have a large Logos library. This is large base packages. This is including good scholarly and academic resources, commentary sets, journals, etc. However, you're not entirely lost and not able to use Logos if you don't have all of those resources. Let me show you one trick that you can actually utilize if you are relying on a physical library. So suppose your Logos library is not very large, but you still want to use the tool. Well, let me show you what you can do by utilizing the add to the library function. You see here in Logos Bible software with the most recent L10 update, we actually have this add to library function up on the library pane. It says buy books or add them to your print library for free. Here's the thing. If you have a book in your print library in Logos Bible software, then it will search that book and it will tell you the page number on which you can find the material you're looking for. So if you go ahead and add ahead of time books from your physical library that you may want to consult in your research, then they will come up as hits in your search process. What that does is it actually allows you to utilize Logos Bible software to search the print books from your library. Then you get a list of what you need to get, and you go over there and grab them, and you already know the page numbers to go to. So this is a little bit of a trick you can use. The only problem is having to add to library all of those physical books by hand, but it might be your only option if you're trying to utilize Logos as a tool for this purpose. The second thing I want to point out is how valuable it is to have the journals in Logos Bible software. Now, it's not an exhaustive list. You can get more out of Atla and Atlas databases, but the fact of the matter is Logos actually has a lot of journals in their master journal bundle available for purchase. So if you can at least get the journal bundle, that's going to help you a lot in writing good quality seminary papers. Final preliminary before we jump in, guys, my approach is very functional, okay? You are obviously, once you get in depth into the research, you get out of it what you put into it. So if you're investing a lot of time, effort, and energy into your research and study, that's going to pay dividends for your own learning and for your own knowledge. However, if you utilize the approach I'm giving you here today, you're going to be able to effectively and efficiently pull a lot of resources, a lot of articles, and a lot of quotes for your paper, and that's going to be huge. For purposes of this video, let's go ahead and pull an example syllabus from my alma mater, RTS, Reformed Theological Seminary out of Orlando, and let's take a look at the paper requirements for one of the classes. This is from Systematic Theology 1, and we're going to use this as an example to show exactly the sort of research approach I would take if I were writing a paper for this class. It says here, students will write 12 to 15-page research paper on one of the topics treated in the course. The papers will evaluate their ability to articulate a clear thesis that rests upon sound biblical theological argumentation, etc., etc. Notice the 10 source requirement with bibliography attached. Oftentimes 10 sources is not enough. You also need 2 journal sources. So we're going to go ahead and put that as a requirement for ourselves as well. So how would we go about writing a research paper in Logos Bible software that's 12 to 15 pages long and has a bibliography at the end and we're going to require 2 of our 10 sources to be journal articles. Let me show you how to do just that. First, we have to choose the type of theology paper that we're going to write. You can see that the professor provides us with 3 separate approaches to writing our research paper. First, they talk about an exegetical research paper. This is actually the easiest research paper to write from Logos Bible Software, at least as far as I'm concerned, so I'm going to treat this one last. Second, he gives us the option to write a historical theology paper. And thirdly, he gives us the option to write a dogmatic theology paper. I find the dogmatic and the historical pretty similar, so we'll go ahead and start with dogmatic, and then I'll talk about historical as well. One final piece of guidance that our professor gives us is that we are not trying to make an original contribution to theology here. He says that we are laying the foundation here in seminary so that in the future we can make original contributions. This is really important because our research is going to be mostly getting information, and I'm going to show you how to write papers that are focused on a research level. So first we need to pick a topic. Now I find that the best topic to write on is something that sparked interest in the middle of a class or a lecture. You might often hear the professor say something that grabs your attention, and so you want to dive into that topic in more depth. However, there were times when I was still at a loss for the topic I wanted to treat in my paper, and at that point I utilized my awesome Logos library to go ahead and prompt the idea for the paper. Let's take that approach. Looking here at all of the lessons that we have in the class, there are a few that jump out to me, but the one that I'm really interested in is the attributes of God. So how can we utilize our Logos library to pick a topic surrounding the attributes of God for our paper? Well, the first idea I have is to open up a systematic theology and go to the section on the attributes of God. That might spark some ideas of an attribute of God that I want to write on. So if I go ahead and look in here and I just type Burkhoff and I can pull his systematic theology over, that might give me a good idea of what I actually want to write my paper on. Scrolling down to the table of contents here just briefly, I can see that there's an entire section right here on the attributes of God. He has a section on the attributes of God in general, then the incommunicable attributes, and finally the communicable attributes. Now, as I scan these, a bunch of them jump out at me, but the self-existence of God sounds really interesting, so I'm going to go ahead and click that. It's going to navigate to that chapter, that section, and I'm going to start to read through. God is self-existent. That is, he has the ground of his existence in himself. If I look forward and read through, I begin to remember, in class, there was a phrase that we utilized to talk about the self-existence of God. It was the phrase aseity. I want to search in my Logos library for the topic of aseity and see if I have enough content to maybe dig into this topic for my paper. Now, at this point, I'm already thinking, do I want to have a theological bent or a historical bent to my paper? I want you to know for your purposes that I find the process for writing a research paper for each of these exactly the same. However, the difference is in the sorts of resources that you consult. If your paper is planning to have a theological bent, I would focus on systematic theologies, commentaries, and Bible dictionaries. Those will often get you the information you need from a theological perspective. However, if you want to write a historical paper, utilize the same process that I'm about to outline, but instead of focusing on systematic theologies, I want you to add to that creeds and confessions, historical theologies, and church histories. If you give these additional resources some weight as well, now you're going to be much better off in writing a historical paper. Regardless of the direction we're going to go, we've decided that we might want to write our paper on the topic of aseity. So I want to start off with the fact book. Click this button over here, it opens up, and type aseity into the box and see what the fact book returns. So you can see right off the bat, it opens up an article to God's self-existence. It has a key article, has some key passages. If we wanted to take an exegetical bent, we could maybe write on aseity from a key passage, say Exodus 3:14-15, for example. Or we can open up the systematic theology section as well. We can see there are plenty of systematic theologies that have this topic of aseity built within. So this looks like a great option for our paper. Looks like we're going to have plenty of resources. In order to confirm that, I also love to do a search using the search function in Logos. So let me go ahead and pull that up. So if I pull the search function up, I can actually go to this book section and I can make sure I'm on all books, all text, all passages. Let's type in aseity. Whoa, that is way too many hits and way too many types of resources. This is overwhelming and it's not likely to be helpful. But that's a good thing because we can utilize the search parameters in Logos to narrow down our focus. Instead of hitting everywhere in all of our books that the word aseity pops up, let's just go for headings and titles. That way we're looking at big sections of books that talk about aseity in particular. In order to do that, go ahead and click this alt text button, Then you want to go to search fields, and down here you're looking for heading text and large text, and check both of those boxes. Much better. 206 results and 176 articles and 78 resources. And if we look at the resources that are being offered here, we have our systematic theologies. Not only that, you can see we have some journal articles here as well. And finally, we have encyclopedias and dictionaries. We're checking all three of our boxes. We could probably build the vast majority of our paper on just this search, but that might be too easy. It's just the fact that I utilize the word aseity, which is very particular and unique. What if instead we were writing a paper on a much more common word, say justification? Well, notice now I have the same problem that I had before. I have way too many results, way too many articles, and way too many types of resources. What should I do now? Well, not only are we narrowed down to heading and large text, but we can also narrow down the types of books we're searching for. If you click on the All Books button here on the far left, you can actually specify the types of books that you want to search. Let's start with systematic theologies. Look, after typing systematic in, it returns all of these different collections that I can search for. Book type systematic theology is perfect. Let's click that. Now I'm narrowed down to only 160 resources, and I bet with a little bit of digging, I could find some really good systematic theological information on the topic of justification. But we don't want to write with only 10 resources of systematic theologies, so let's go ahead and search for other types of resources as well. We said we want some journal articles. Let's check them out. Boom. Book type, journal, journal articles, theological journals, etc. If we go ahead and click that, you can see, with a little bit of digging, we're definitely going to find at least 2 sources on the topic of justification. Finally, we wanted some Bible dictionaries or encyclopedias. Let's go ahead and type dictionary in here. Now notice book type dictionary pops up. But when I click it, it's actually giving me English dictionaries, like the common way in which we utilize dictionaries. So that's not what I'm looking for. How can I get Bible dictionaries or encyclopedias? Rather than going to book type dictionary, I can actually do a quick collection function, 376 books with dictionary. Now, this is really broad because it's grabbing any book that has the word dictionary in it or in its information panel or anything like that. But it's still going to be narrow enough that my Bible dictionaries and encyclopedias are going to pop up. So let's utilize that. Boom, there we go. This is exactly what we're looking for. We've got the word justification in heading or large text in all of our Bible dictionaries and encyclopedias. A few extra books we don't need, but that's no problem. So there you go. We've done the vast majority of the work when it comes to research. All you need to do at this point is start filtering through all of the individual resources and books you have. Maybe you do different searches. So instead of just searching for aseity, maybe I would search for God's self-existence or some other topic. But as you dig through, you're going to find almost everything you need just by utilizing different search functions. In this way, you're basically building your bibliography as you go. That is so handy. So what I do at this point is I just start bringing up resources. I look for the sections. Right here, it talks about aseity, the fundamental attribute of God. So let me put over there. That's going to be a great section. And I just start looking through all of my books and grabbing anything that looks relevant. This journal article, that looks like it's super helpful. That might apply perfectly. And I just start bringing resources up, trying to hit all of the different types of resources that I have. All of a sudden, I have a great bibliography, and I'm pulling all those resources up that I need. Now, if you were writing a historical paper instead, I would utilize the exact same process, but I would also add to it focusing in on creeds and confessions, historical theologies, and church histories. That's just targeting different resources to bring up as my sources when I'm doing my research. But otherwise, the process is the same. However, what if you were writing an exegetical paper like I talked about before? Well, that process, as far as I'm concerned, is even easier. I bring up the passage guide right here, and I type in the section that I want to write on. Rather than focusing simply on commentaries, I'm opening the journal articles, and I'm seeing if there are any journal articles written on my particular text. Not only that, I do dig through the commentaries, and at that point, I'm looking for more of my exegetical commentaries, those that go in-depth and are more academic. One final thing you can do if you're doing an exegetical paper is go ahead and search all of your books for the Bible verse. Now, you've got to get the designation correct. If you just type John 3:31, you're not actually going to get what you're looking for. Instead, you have to get Bible and then in quotations, John 3:31. This is now searching all of my books for where that hyperlinked Bible text is at. And now you can see I've got so many hits. And if you just narrow up your search parameters, you're going to be able to find great information. So this is the process you utilize to get all of your sources. You're getting a long list of sources that you actually want to reference. You're building your bibliography as you go. You're going to be in really good shape. You're probably going to be able to deliver more than 10 plus 2 in terms of your bibliography. If you show up with 20 plus sources, in your bibliography, your professor's going to be very happy. Let me just show you a few more things that I like to do while I'm in the research paper writing process. First is saving my layout. I like to keep all of the books that I'm referencing open in Logos. That can be hard over multiple sessions. So all I do is I save my layout in advance when I'm done working, and then I just bring it up next time I want to work on my paper. In order to save your layout, you just click down here at this little layouts button, and you actually have this button right here, save as name layout. If you click there, you can type in the layout of your name. Mine's going to be ACD paper. Now, when I want to continue my research, I just come back into this layouts area, I click my ACD paper layout, and it pulls up all of my resources. The second trick I want to show you is setting up a clippings. While you are actually getting all of your information, you're going to probably be finding quotes that you want to use in your paper. So you probably want a clippings document. It makes it just really easy to track these quotes. If you click over here to the Create a New Document tab, click New, and you can click clippings. Now all you have to do is title it. I will title it ACD paper, and I'm good to go. Now, whenever I grab a quote, I can just throw it over to clippings. So if I like something here about ACD, I grab it, right click, and then right down here, you can see add a clipping to ACD paper 2. I click that, and boom, there's my clipping. Clippings are meant to mimic that process that you used to have to use when you would take like an index card to the library, and you would write down the quote in the index card, and you would put everything on it. And you can even flip this card over, and it has all the bibliographical information. That is what this clippings tool is meant to mimic, and if you have your clippings with all of your potential quotes in it, makes it really easy to organize your paper in the future. Finally, guys, you've been adding your sources, you've been writing your paper, etc. You get to the end, you feel really good about it, and you gotta now add a bibliography. Oh, what a headache. Not in Logos. So easy to make bibliographies in Logos. Let me show you. First, you need to go to your settings and make sure that you are utilizing the right format for your bibliography. As you guys know, different professors, different institutions like them in different formats. So we're going to click down here on the triple dot menu and click Program Settings. Now that you're in Program Settings, all you have to do is go to Citation Style and make sure you have the right one. RTS preferred Turabian 8th edition, so that's what I used. Now that you have that set up, there are several ways in which you can build the bibliography. But my favorite way is to build it from all open resources. This is part of why I keep all of my books open ahead of time, and I've got them all there in my layout at the end. It makes it so simple to create the bibliography. So if you go to your Documents tab and you click New Bibliography, you can easily build it. Here I have my bibliography. I will call it ACD paper. And how am I going to build this thing? Well, it's going to be add all open books. Boom, you can see all of the resources that I have open are now added as a bibliography. All you have to do is sort it. It puts it into alphabetical. Then you export it to a Word document, and you're good to go. Sort, triple dot, export, and then triple dot, export to Word. That is it, guys. That is my video on how to write a research paper utilizing Logos Bible software. I hope this was helpful for you. I personally use Logos on every single one of my papers in seminary, and like I said, I never had to go to a physical library. Obviously, you can get even more resources if you utilize an Atla database, if you go to a physical library, but this was perfectly sufficient for all of my needs during my seminary days. Thank you so much for watching the Pastor Tanner YouTube channel. We love and appreciate all of your support. Please consider supporting us on Patreon so we can continue to make content like this in the future. Take care. God bless. Bye.